That's not the face I want to see when you've tasted your cooking.
No, it's just really hot.
Hey guys, great to have you back. Today, we are getting creative in the kitchen, and I have my wonderful friend Taylor helping me out with her cooking skills. I'm going to show you some simple tips for filming more creative B-roll. As you saw in the intro, we're going to compare basic and pro B-roll shots that I filmed as Taylor made her delicious one-pot taco pasta recipe. That is really hard to say out loud. One pot taco pasta recipe. One pot taco pasta. One pot taco pasta. If this video makes you as hungry as me, you can check out the one pot taco pasta recipe through the link in the description, as well as lots of other healthy recipes on her food blog, taylorskitchen.com. So let's get cooking. So what is B-roll? B-roll is the shots you put over your talking head footage, like this, that help to add interest to the video and further demonstrate what you're talking about. Some videos are made entirely of B-roll, like the video we'll be using to demonstrate today. If you're not yet comfortable sitting in front of the camera, you can create a voiceover and use B-roll to fill in the entire video instead. You may choose to film your own B-roll, but if you don't have the time, tools, or interest to do that, there are heaps of stock footage resources out there, both free and paid, that I've linked in the description below. Every time a video has a cut point, our brains refresh. New information, it's time to pay attention again. When there's significant motion in a video, our brains continue to refresh as well. If there isn't enough movement or activity happening, we'd better hope our audience is invested enough in the content to stick around. This is where we can utilize B-roll to help illustrate what we're talking about in our videos and make them more interesting. I created two versions of the how to make one pot taco pasta. That is still really hard to say. I created two versions of the how to make one pot taco pasta video. Yep. I created two versions of the how to make one pot taco pasta video. One with average shots and lots of mistakes. The other with actual planning and creativity based on what Taylor had told me were the steps to create the dish. They were both shot on an iPhone and handheld. No fancy tools were used at all except for one LED that helped boost the ambient light in the kitchen. So, let's go through this process step by step and compare beginner to pro B-roll footage.
How do I tilt it down?
Up top, yep.
Ah.
Something smells really good. It's like all these spices. The first thing you want to do for this type of situation where we're shooting a how-to video, before you even think about shooting anything, is talk about what is going to happen in the process. I asked Taylor what the steps were, I jotted them down, and I thought about what shots I needed to tell the story. A shot list can be very simple or more complex depending on the scale of the video. If I'm shooting a corporate video for a client, I'll spend time talking to them about what might be available for us to shoot, what locations we can access, and then brainstorm lots of ideas to put into a plan for the day of shooting. This way, I can estimate how much time the shoot will take, whether we'll need props, what will our backup plan be if it rains or we don't have access to something that was in the original plan. The shot list may be strategically planned out with a script, or it could simply be a page of dot points to refer back to for ideas so we're not wasting too much time on the actual day. For this video, I wanted to shoot lots of close-ups. But if I shoot them all from the same angle, they won't cut together very well and it will be very jarring to watch. So I had to diversify the height, angle, and position of the camera to create enough difference in the shots for the video to flow. The first video I filmed mostly from the same angle and it gets very repetitive. In the second video, I changed it up and showed different angles because I had planned my shots and the end result was much more interesting. Experiment with getting down low or shooting from overhead to get different angles. Also, consider the motion of the shot itself. Can you follow it and be part of it instead of just an observer as it passes through? Even subtle motion is more interesting than no motion at all. Can you create a sequence with your shots? Is there a purpose? Can you demonstrate something by leading the viewer to it using motion? Or would it simply look really cool? Shake it up, experiment, try things even if you aren't sure if they'll pan out. That is how you learn to shoot great B-roll. You can also change up your shots by playing with the speed of your clips. We love being able to view the world in a way we can't with our own eyes. So experimenting with slow motion and time-lapse clips can make your video more intriguing because we physically can't see things in slow motion or in time-lapse. You could take that one step further and change the speed of your clip from fast to slow to fast again when you get to the edit. The next tip when you're shooting, use your body as an extension of your camera. This means when you want to put motion in your shot, use your whole body to do it rather than just your hands. It is going to be much more stable this way. Or if you're leaning down, getting a super close detail and you can't use your whole body, rest your elbow or your wrist on something solid to give you that extra support for a steady shot. You can get great tools like smartphone tripods, a gorilla pod that has flexible legs, smartphone gimbals, and all kinds of smartphone lenses. I will talk about these things in another video, but if you'd like to check out all the cool toys that are available for smartphone shooting, I've linked a heap in the description below. We filmed this video straight under kitchen lights to keep it as natural and candid as possible. Also to demonstrate that it's important to be aware of your shadow or reflection sneaking into the shot. You may need to reposition or try a different angle altogether if you can't avoid certain lights or reflective surfaces. Sometimes you might not see it at first, especially on a small screen, but things like stainless steel, glass, and even the shiny splashback in your kitchen can be extremely reflective. So look out for your reflection in unexpected places. If you're concerned about your video looking very professional, definitely pay attention to your background and any unwanted elements that may sneak into the shot. Clean up the entire area if necessary to avoid things like this messing up your shot. When you are filming anything, always leave tail at the end of your shot. This is an extra few seconds of safety in case you get to the edit and realize you needed just a bit more. See your shot through and then hold it, or continue the motion gently for a little bit longer than you think is necessary to save you lots of trouble in the long run. On the other side of the spectrum, when you do get to the edit, less is more. How can you tell the story in as little time as possible? This also relates to what we spoke about in the beginning of the video in regards to brain refresh. The ideal length for your B-roll clips is 2 to 5 seconds, depending on the pace of your video. You may have this amazing shot that you want to see through because it's beautiful and you're so happy with it, and that's awesome. But if it goes on too long, your audience can actually get fatigued and scroll on to the next video. Clip fatigue is a real thing, my friends. One small thing you can do to make your videos look more professional is shorten your shots. Of course, this is mainly done in the edit, but you should always be thinking about how your video will cut together while you're filming it. Keeping this idea in mind will change the way you shoot your videos. Continually ask yourself, how can I tell the story of each individual shot in as little time as possible? Let's say the action is chopping onions. How long do you really need to show the act of chopping onions on the screen for your audience to understand that you're chopping an onion? It doesn't matter how breathtaking this shot of chopping onions is. If it takes too long to get to the next shot, your audience has already scrolled on to the next video. This may mean planning your shot, doing a practice run, or shooting it multiple times to capture the essence of what's happening in as little time as possible. Now, I'm not saying every single shot has to be short and sweet, but it does have to fit with the pace of your video. The pace is controlled by your energy, if it's a talking piece, the music, and the subject of the video. If you're filming sport with lots of action, faster cuts would align with the energy and help the video to flow. Whereas if you're filming how-to videos of delicate beading techniques, slower paced cuts are probably more appropriate. We have packed a lot of information into this video. Now that you have some ideas fresh in your mind, let's compare those two cooking videos. Talk about your video and create a shot list. Think about the edit as you film. What angles can you use to show the subject in a way people can't ordinarily see? Ask yourself how you can tell the story of each individual clip in as little time as possible. And finally, experiment. Have fun with it. I hope today's video inspires you to get out there and just give it a go. If you are ready to start shooting your own B-roll, leave me a comment below that says taco pasta time. Please give the video a big thumbs up, and if you have any questions, write them below so I can answer them for you. Hit subscribe for more video tips and techniques, and I can't wait to see what you create. See you next time.
And when it looks like prison sludge, you're done.